Welcome to Italy. We are actually here in Bologna. Just around the corner is the Ducati factory, and we've had the chance to exclusively ride the new Multistrada V4. New model Euro 5 for 2021. What a phenomenal bike. It's a difficult way to start with this machine. It's completely different to the previous Multistrada, which, let's be face it, was an excellent bike. So let's start with the engine. V4, obviously, 170 horsepower. The valves are no longer Desmotronic, they're standard spring valves. The engine is completely different though to a Panigale. I was expecting this to be, I mean, when you read the brief, you go, this is a superbike engine in an enduro chassis with a 19-inch front wheel. That's almost crazy. But the engine is so refined and versatile, and the fueling is perfect. This is not an aggressive Panigale engine thrown in an adventure chassis. This is a completely different engine. The only similarities is the V4 configuration. When we move on from the engine, we look at the chassis. It's the monocoque chassis now, which saves 4 kilograms on weight saving. The engine, compared to the old V-twin, is higher in the chassis. The front wheel is now 19. We've got a 17-inch wheel on the rear. It's a completely different configuration of tyres, chassis. The entire bike is completely different to the old one. Don't think it's just the old one with a V4 in it. Forget it. This is completely different. Then we need to go on to some of the tech. Now, I'm the wrong side of 40, so sometimes tech scares me like it might do you. And this has got adaptive cruise control, which is completely new for this model. It's got a system that if the bike goes into the weave, it will slow the bike down automatically because the IMU can detect that. There's a lot of technology on this. There's a huge 6.5-inch dash in front of us. Now, I was worried that this was going to be a bit confusing, but it's not. It's so easy. And I find it so frustrating that sometimes you get on a bike and everything is so complicated. Now, we're normally given a huge briefing on how to use all the buttons and what to do. And we didn't do that. I just wanted to get on the bike and ride it and see if it was intuitive and see if I could work it. And it is. It's brilliant. Really intuitive. The buttons are simple and it's easy to use. So the big talking point is the adaptive cruise control. So essentially you have a radar on the front of the bike, which detects if there's any vehicles within, I think it's 160 meters. And this works up to 160 kilometers an hour. So you set the cruise control, let's say 80 miles an hour. Somebody pulls out into your lane, it will slowly reduce the power, apply the brakes if necessary, and then when you move into the third lane and it senses there's nothing in front of you, it accelerates back up to the speed that you had. The system is so sweet and easy to use. And the dash makes it easy. You've got a simple way of reducing that distance as well, and increasing and decreasing the traction control. On the back is another radar. Now what that does is activates these small lights here on the mirrors, which are like indicators, to make you aware if anything is coming into a blind spot. Now initially I thought it's going to be a little bit gimmicky, but it's not. When you're riding in a group, you sometimes miss your friends when they're in your blind spot. And automatically the lights come on, and if they're coming at speed, they will illuminate to let you know that a vehicle is coming either underneath you or around the outside of you, depending on how you're riding and obviously what side of the road you're on. Brilliant. I'm so impressed with that. So we've got the technology. Obviously you've got a huge safety pack. We've got wheelie control, we have traction control, we have cornering ABS. That is all controlled by the IMU. Now the IMU, if you're not aware, that's the way of measuring what everything is happening, and there's a G-force in that. Now if you can imagine that a 170 horsepower bike may in extreme situations go into a slight weave if you've got a lot of weight on the back. If it goes into a weave, the IMU detects that because it has a G-force in there. The G-force from the IMU, it knows it's weaving, reduces the power and brings the weave down to a controllable speed. All these little things, I just keep finding stuff the more I ride it. Cubby hole, perfect. Why has nobody ever put one there before? Got a USB socket, you put your phone in, keyless ignition, brilliant. From that you can connect your phone to the dash, and through the Ducati app you can have full sat nav and Bluetooth connectivity. The screen, it's adjustable screen, but different. One finger operation. It's effortless. The amount of time they've spent in the aerodynamic tunnel is incredible because there's no wind noise. 160 kilometers an hour early on today, my visor up with the screen fully up, no earplugs, and very, very little wind noise. I always ride with earplugs, and this afternoon I haven't, just because there's no wind noise. It's incredible. Comfort we've done on a full day's riding, I cannot complain. I can't comment on the pillion because I've not dared to go on the back yet. Overall, just so impressed. The handling, we have 4 different modes. We have the Skyhook suspension. We've hit some really bumpy stuff, we've hit fast, smooth stuff, long, undulating corners. I've thrown everything at it and I can't upset it. The rebound is so well controlled. You go through a huge undulation and you expect the rebound to recoil and throw you out the seat, and it doesn't. It just stays subtle and planted. The bike is 2 kilograms heavier than the previous model, or around that. But because weight has been moved around the bike, because the frame is lighter and we've gone from different size wheels and the rear wheel has shrunk and the front wheel is bigger. Normally when you go to a bigger front wheel it slows the steering, but this hasn't. It steers like both wheels are 17. It steers like a, not sports bike, but it steers like an aggressive naked bike. Struggling to find points. It's a little bit thirsty, as you'd expect from the V4, because now you're feeding 4 cylinders instead of 2. So we've got a little bit more fuel. I average 39 to the gallon after our long ride today, and you've got a 22 litre fuel tank. It's going to be available in the standard, it's going to be available in the V4S, and then there's loads of configurations that you can make of this bike. So I'm just going to quickly move across to the bike that we took off-road. So we rode on-road on the V4S, and off-road we've got the Pirelli more off-road bias tyres, and we've got the crash guards. Now what Ducati have done, have really thought about how to get this bike off-road. They've not just gone, well, it's capable of off-road. This is really capable off-road, and it's the little touches that I really like as an off-road rider. So the mirrors are bent outwards this way, which gives a beautiful vision behind you, but it means when your arms are up on the bars, the mirrors aren't touching your forearms. The bike is really thin towards the fuel tank, so your legs are not, so you're not like splayed out when you're trying to ride off-road. There's loads of room between the back of your heel and the rear pegs. You're not hitting your enduro boots on the rear pegs. There's nothing. You can take the rubbers off the pegs really easy. You don't have to use Allen keys or screws. They just pop off and pop straight back on again. That gives you grip when you ride off-road. We've only touched what we can do off-road on this bike, and we're going to hit that again and ride a bit harder off-road. All in all, it's been a long time since I've been this impressed with a bike. I was expecting like a little step, but it's really set a new benchmark for adventure bikes. It's doing everything you want from an adventure bike, and it's got amazing safety, amazing rider aids, and it looks stunning. In the UK, the prices are $15,495 for the standard, $18,395 for the V4S, and $19,995 for the V4 Sport, which has got the pipe and the carbon accessories. And then from then, it's just a case of putting what accessories you want on it. Do you want panniers? Do you want carbon? Do you want different colours? Do you want the spoked wheels? Interestingly, that's one of the main reasons why they've not gone for a single-sided swinging arm, because they wanted to offer the spoked wheels, which obviously wouldn't work on a single-sided swinging arm. Hugely impressive bike. Can't wait to get some more miles under its belt. This has been like a little taster of what to expect, and so far we're impressed.